Hey, it's 104 degrees, and if that doesn't wipe you out, a jammed weapon will. Remember, guys, keep it clean and keep your head low.
When the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof, and your shoes get so hot, you wish your tired feet were fireproof. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea.
Hi, Mom. Well, I'm fine today, and I hope that you're in good shape also. Today, I am swimming, washing, and taking in the sun. The beach is great. The sand is white and the sky is clear. Boy, I wish every day was like this. I wouldn't have any problems while I'm here.
People walking about, we'll be making love under the boardwalk.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue. And when the band plays Hail to the Chief, ooh, that boy that can't act you, y'all. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no senator, son. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one.
American casualties in Vietnam, killed and wounded, now exceed 300,000. More than 39,000 killed and more than 258,000 wounded. Here's a report from NBC.
Dear folks, this is your on-the-spot correspondent in the Big Nam reporting.
Hi, honey. I had a hell of a day yesterday.
Dear Sue, thank you for the wingtips. Only one question. Where do I wear them in Vietnam?
Some folks in heaven, star-spangled eyes. Ooh, they'll send you down to war. And when you ask them, how much should we give? Ooh, the only answer, more.
Darling, I'm sitting down to write of my love for you and the horrors of war.
Actually, I'm writing because I have to, or go out of my mind. Things happen over here,
Mom,
you just can't.
I appreciate all your letters. For a while, as I read your letters, I'm a normal person. I'm not killing people or worried about being killed.
Darling, believe me, I try not to skip a day in writing you. Whether or not I get a letter determines if it's a good day or not.
It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no military son. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. It ain't me.
This is London. This is Switzerland calling.
And here is the news.
3 communist PT boats attacked an American destroyer off the coast of Vietnam yesterday, and today President Johnson's response was hard and tough. He has ordered the U.S. Navy to continue patrolling there, and if they are attacked, to destroy their attackers.
To any armed attack upon our forces, we shall reply. To any in Southeast Asia who ask our help in defending their freedom, we shall give it.
Can't win in Asia. So I am not going to go along with this kind of a program in South Vietnam, at least with my vote, that in my judgment is going to kill needlessly untold numbers of American boys and for nothing.
Lines form on my face and hands. Lines form from the ups and downs. I'm in the middle without any plans. I'm a boy and I'm a man. I'm 18.
here it is. We've been told that our whole company will be shipping out to Vietnam after advanced infantry training. Our company commander and our battalion and brigade commanders told us that there's no sense in trying to fool ourselves. We're going for sure. The only thing that makes me mad is how do they expect you to tell your parents? I don't mind going, but there are some guys here who just won't make it. And I don't think they'll make it out alive. Your son, Bob. P.S. Tell Mom not to worry. It's nothing I can't handle.
Dear Uncle and Aunt, some people wonder why Americans are in Vietnam. The way I see the situation, I would rather fight and stop communists in South Vietnam than in Kincaid, Humboldt, Blue Mound, or Kansas City. And that's just about what it would end up being. The price for victory is high when life cannot be replaced. But I think it is far better to fight and die for freedom than to live under oppression and fear. Your nephew, Jack.
What state are you from? Philadelphia, sir. North Carolina. Charlotte. Yeah, I know it well. Well, good luck to you, lad.
Dear John, well, in 360 days, I'll be home. Try not to worry too much about me. I know that will be difficult, but it doesn't do anyone any good. Love, Bobby. Chris, I finally got to my unit yesterday. Our mission is to find VC and kill them. I should be operating like this for the next 2 months before I get a chance to take a shower and sleep in a bed. What a life. There are absolutely no comforts in our job. I carry nothing but a razor and a bar of soap for comfort. We wear the only clothes we have and wash them in rivers and streams as we cross them. You were right. I managed to get myself right in the middle of it all.
Dear Tom, hi, how are you? I hope all is well at home. Everything's okay here. My whole squad is all a bunch of screwballs. Eddie's running around now with an insect bomb, cursing the bugs. The mosquitoes that come out at night are man-eaters, but the insect repellent keeps them off. It's safe in the daytime. We stand out in the open or work on the bunker. We can run up and down the hill with no worries. But at night, we gotta stay in the bunkers as snipers sneak in. Dennis. P.S. Send some Kool-Aid. Water here tastes like shit.
Roger, Whiskey, I have a booby trap, tripwire tied onto a branch, grenade on the end of the tripwire, spoon is out.
Dear Mom and Dad, the way we move without contact, you begin to wonder if the VC are even out there. All the time you know they are. The great frustration is that they don't come out and fight.
Be careful now. Watch yourself.
Dear Red, anyone over here who walks more than 50 feet through elephant grass should automatically get a Purple Heart. Try to imagine grass possessing razor-sharp edges, 8 to 15 feet high, so thick as to cut visibility to 1 yard. Then try to imagine walking through it while all around you are men possessing the latest automatic weapons who desperately want to kill you. You'd be amazed at how much a man can age on one patrol.
We're all scared. One can easily see this emotion in the eyes of each individual. One might hide it with his mouth, while another might hide it with his actions. But there is no way around it. We are all scared. Dearest Bev, for the last week we've been waiting for an attack, and finally it came in full force. Honey, I was never so scared in my whole life. We got hit by 12 mortars and rockets. The mortar landed about 30 feet from me, and I was lucky enough to have my head down. But the sergeant next to me didn't, and we think he lost an eye. I've been hit! This was my first real look at war, and it sure was an ugly sight. I helped carry some of the wounded away, and boy, I sure hope I don't have to do that again. It was an experience you can never explain in a million words.
You got a lot of pain in that left ankle. That's a good sign. It's that sharp pain that you get when you got nerves, you know. It's that sharp nerve pain. Burning.
They're going to do all they can to save that leg.
I know. I know there's not much left because I was carrying that damn thing in my hands all the way back. I was afraid the whole thing was going to come off. I said, hell, they can't be right around in here. And so I didn't call bombs and nape in on these people. But that's where they were. I'm sure now that that's where they were. God damn it, I hate to put nape and on these women and children. I just didn't do it. I just said they can't be there.
Dear Vern, I talked to Danny, the man who lost his leg this morning. He's a mean bastard. I've never seen such bravery and guts before, and I'm stunned by it. You should have seen my men fight. They were going after wounded men no one else would go after. You should have seen my brave men. It'd give you goose pimples.
This is Cameron Bay on the South China Sea. It is said to be one of the finest natural harbors in the world. It will, in time, be the chief port of entry for American men and materiel in Vietnam. It is taking on a look of permanence, and the activity going on all around suggests that we have recognized there is not going to be an easy, painless, or quick way out of this struggle. And so, during the past year, our military forces have grown from 25,000 to nearly 200,000 men. The possibility of 300,000 men here by spring is now considered likely.
The beat goes on. The beat goes on. Men still keep on marching off to war.
Dear folks,
car, bird, house, etc. New jungle fatigues, boots, cooling fans, typewriters, napkins, silverware, grass seeds. I'll trickle into supplier and if dispersed as needed. Jeez. You know, this is an in-war. One of the hippest things in this old world. I've read where officers were quoted as saying, "This is the only war we've got. Don't knock it."
La-da-da-da-da. And the beat goes on. Yes, the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. The beat goes on. And the beat goes on.
This war is not going to end by any one single battle or combination of battles. It could be a situation that could drag out for some time. Certainly, as the war gets more intense, and I feel that it will in coming months, we will suffer more American casualties.
Dearest Bev, last night we had the VC all around us. Bev, don't ever tell Mother this, but at times I feel I will never come home. The VC are getting much stronger, so I think this war is going to get worse before it gets better. The days are fairly peaceful, but the nights are pure hell. I look up at the stars, and it's so hard to believe that the same stars shine over you in such a different world as you live in. Oh, my love. Al. Hello, dear folks. It's going to be hard for me to write this, but maybe it will make me feel better. Yesterday, my company was hit while looking for VC. They told me that they needed someone to identify a boy they just brought in. It was very bad, they said. So I went into the tent, and there on the table was the boy. His face was all cut up, and blood all over it. His mouth was open. His eyes were both open. It was a mess. I couldn't really identify him. So I went outside while they went through his stuff. They found his ID card and dog tags. I went in, and they told me his name. Rankin. I cried. No. God, it can't be. But sure enough, after looking at his bloody face again, I could see it was him. It really hit me hard because he was one of the nicest guys around. He was one of my good friends. No other KIA or WIA hit me like that. I knew most of them. But this was the first body I ever saw. And being my friend, it was too much. After I left the place, I sat down and cried. Couldn't stop it. I didn't think I ever cried so much in my life. I can still see his face now. I'll never forget it. Today, the heavens cried for him. It started raining at noon today and has now finally just stopped after 10 hours of the hardest rain I've ever seen. Love, Richard.
What we've just seen, men fighting for their lives in the jungles of South Vietnam, is what has aroused such apprehension and debate throughout the world. War is brutal, and the reaction to it is strong. This week, hundreds of people demonstrated against it. Others have voiced their concern by question and dissent. Public opinion polls indicate that the dissenters are in the minority, but their number is growing, and they are starting to take more positive actions. On Saturday, a march to show solidarity with American servicemen in Vietnam was held in New York City. Marchers carried American flags, and flags were hung from apartment house windows. Against this background, the battle continues, and in it this week, 274 Americans were killed, 1,748 wounded, 18 listed as missing. There is no end to the war in sight.
Dear Ma, Vietnam has my feelings on a seesaw. This country is so beautiful. When the sun is shining on the mountains, farmers in their rice paddies with their water buffalo, and palm trees, monkeys, birds, and even the strange insects. For a fleeting moment, I'm not in a war zone at all, just on vacation, but still missing you and the family. There are a few kids who hang around, some with no parents. I feel so sorry for them. I do things to make them laugh, and they call me Dinky Dow. That means crazy. I hope that's one reason why we're here, to secure a future for them. Your son, George.
Dear Mom and Dad, you know that joke about how hard it is to tell the good guys from the bad guys over here? Well, it's funny in Bronxville or Dorset, but it isn't over here. The enemy in our area of operations is a farmer by day and VC by night. Every man we pick up says, "Me Vietnamese #1, VC #10. So we have to let him go. By the way, #1 means real good and #10 means real bad. Other handy phrases are TT, very little, Buku, which means very much, Didi Mao, get out of here. What more do you need to know? Love always, Mike.
Dear Red, the frightening thing about it all is that it's so very easy to kill in war. There's no remorse, no theatrical washing of the hands to get rid of non-existent blood, not even any regrets. You kill because that little son of a bitch is doing his best to kill you. When it happens, you're more afraid than you've ever been in your life. And you desperately want to live, to go home, to get drunk, or walk down the street on a date again.
If you can just get your mind together.
Dear Mom and Dad, 1st Cavalry moved in here a few weeks ago, and what a rowdy bunch. These guys have been out in the mud and the boonies for months. They just wandered around staring at everything, trying out all the chairs, flushing the toilets. It was funny to watch.
Are you experienced? Or have you ever been experienced? Well, I have.
But I guess when you've had to do without clean clothes, good food, and shelter for as long as they have, you might not believe your eyes either. Oh, God, it must be awful for them out there. Love always, me.
Have you ever been experienced? Well, I have.
Dear Mom and Dad and everyone. Oh, I had my first baptizing with Saigon tea. This is the usual approach of a bar hog. You walk in and sit down at the bar. Before you get to order a drink, a girl will be sitting next to you and she'll begin with,
"Hello, what is your name? Would you like a drink?"
you order one. Then she'll say,
"I've not seen you here before. You're very handsome. Oh, you look young. How old are you?"
They usually like you to be between 21 and 23, but I tell them 19. Then they say,
"You baby son."
which means, have you ever been to bed with a woman? A baby son's a virgin. Come on.
I wish I could report to you that the conflict is almost over. This I cannot do. We face more cost, more loss, and more agony. For the end is not yet. I cannot promise you that it will come this year or come next year. Our adversary still believes, I think tonight, that he can go on fighting longer than we can, and longer than we and our allies will be prepared to stand up and resist.
This is Servo, Roger. If I go up to where you are, I'll be going at him in the same direction. I want to try to flank him. That's why I'm asking you what direction you're firing in. It sounds to me like you're firing east, so it's...
Norma, this is Elmo. Did not copy. Repeat, over.
Well, what direction are you firing in?
Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son? And where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked right
That way you fire that
across
way. Negative. Don't fire this way at all. Don't fire anywhere. We're surrounded by 12. What's that? What do you say?
That's the platoon trying to overrun his
10,000 miles and the miles of the graveyard. And it's hard It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. You're gonna fall.
Dear Madeline, it's good to have someone to tell your troubles to. I can't tell them to my parents or Darlene because they worry too much, but I tell you truthfully, I doubt if I'll come out of this alive. In my original squad, I'm the only one left unharmed. In my platoon, there's only 13 of us. Seems every day another young guy, 18 or 19 years old like myself, is killed in action. Please help me, Mad. I don't know if I should stop writing my parents and Darlene or what.
Come on, second squad.
Oh, and one more favor. I like the truth now. Has Darlene been faithful to me? I know she's dating other guys, but does she still love me best? See if it's God's will. I have to make it out of Vietnam, though, because I'm lucky. I hope. Haha. Love, Ray.
It's a hard rains are gonna fall.
Dear Doug, we were cut off from our base and requested a helicopter evacuation with priority. We were all in sad shape now. I know that at one point my feet about to crack open, my stomach knotted by hunger and diarrhea, my back feeling like a mirror made of nerves shattered in a million pieces by my flak jacket, pack, and extra mortars and machine gun ammo. My hands a mass of hamburger from thorn cuts. In my face, a mass of welts from mosquitoes. I desired greatly to throw down everything and sob. I remember a captain, an aviator who, observing a group of grunts toasting the infantry in a bar, said, "You damned infantry think you're the only people who exist. You're damned right we do."
Squad leader, how many men did you have?
10, sir.
How many came out of the battle?
4, sir.
4. Rest of them are either killed or wounded.
Yes, sir. 1 killed.
One killed, rest wounded. Some of the wounded be back for duty, I assume.
Yes, sir. We got them all out. All of them came back.
Uh-huh. All your weapons, too?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing, lad?
Sir, I was a medic on a point.
Mm-hmm. Think you saved some lives?
Yes, sir.
You did.
September 1967. David, morale's very high, in spite of the fact that most men think the war is being run incorrectly. One of the staggering facts is that most men here believe we will not win the war, and yet they stick their necks out every day and carry on as if they were fighting for the continental security of the United States.
Were you men in the battle? I know you were, weren't you, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Huh? What did you do?
What did I do? Because I ran around and shot just like everybody else.
Yeah, what did you shoot? What type of weapon?
I'm an M60, sir.
M60.
We were taking a fierce beating over here. They don't have enough men. We must have more men, at least twice as many, or we are going to get the piss kicked out of us this winter when the rains come.
ever since Hill 881 and 861, you feel something in the air about the buildup. I don't know, you could almost feel them working around you at night.
Dear Ellen, we've really been preparing for this all-out offensive by the Gooks. I guess you might have read about it in the papers. There's supposed to be a truce in Vietnam during the Chinese Tet New Year. Khe Sanh is the only area not observing it because of the buildup. I'll try to write again soon. Love, Jim.
Dear Mom and Dad, I guess by now you're worried sick over my safety. Khe Sanh village was overrun, but not the combat base. The base was hit, and hit hard by artillery, mortars, and rockets. All my gear and the rest of the company's gear was destroyed. I am unhurt and have not been touched, but with all the death and destruction I've seen in the past week, I've aged greatly. I feel like an old man now. I've seen enough of war and its destruction. I'm scared by it, but not scared enough to quit. I'm a Marine, and I hope someday to be a good one. Please pray for us all here at Khe Sanh. Your son and Marine, Kevin.
It's Tet, the Oriental New Year, and it's a new war. The Viet Cong simultaneously attacked just about every major city and town in South Vietnam. In one day, they increased the scope of the war dramatically. Howard Tuckner was there.
The war came to Saigon early in the morning of January 31st. The first target was the symbol of the American presence in Vietnam, the United States Embassy. About 20 Viet Cong had invaded the embassy compound and were now battling American Marines and military police. The Viet Cong had penetrated to the center of what was supposed to be the most secure city in Vietnam.
Part of it. Not knowing where they are, that's the worst thing. Riding around and running the sewers and the gutters anywhere. Be anywhere. Just hope you can stay alive from day to day. Everybody just wants to go back home and go to school. That's about it.
You lost any friends?
Quite a few. We lost one the other day. The whole thing stinks, really.
Awful sick of it. I'll be so glad to go home. I don't know. It's the worst area we've been in since I've been in Vietnam.
You think it's worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. They say we're fighting for something. I don't know.
speculation up here in the Hill that ultimately we may have to use nuclear weapons. What can you say on that subject?
I do not think that nuclear weapons will be required to defend Khe Sanh.
Yeah, that's what gets me. That's not the way we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to be hard chargers, man. We're supposed to go out and get them. I think if they pull a good search and destroy up here, we could clear them out.
Well, I don't know. You get out there 50 feet and you're lost already in the jungle. I mean, it looks pretty clear from here.
It's just a constant siege here, and you don't know exactly when the incoming's coming, and you don't know how much it's going to be from day to day. And
how would you compare it to other places that you've served in Vietnam?
Well, this is the worst I've been at. It's you just most of the time you can't get anything done because there's too much incoming. You can't get out much at all. It's just too dangerous to get out, and it just gets on your nerves. That's all.
Either that or just have a B-52s go up one side, back. The only thing they hit is the ground.
Dear Dad and Mom. Well, they haven't got me yet. I'm sitting here in my new bunker underground with many sandbags and metal skids between me and the surface. But the men and I will be all right no matter what comes. We are all well, and morale is high. You know, I've never really regretted coming over here. Even yesterday when my favorite turd got it. The little guy with my platoon sergeant's radio man. I really loved the kid. He was the hardest little worker, and never complained, do anything for you. After they had taken him away, it almost kicked my ass, as the saying goes. I almost cracked. But there were 75 others to worry about, and I snapped myself out of my cheap civilian bull and got back to work. Well, you learn every day the mistakes you were making, and the biggest one is to get too attached to any one person. Not over here, at least. Things happen so quickly, and one minute he's fine, and the next, he's not. But old Don is pretty lucky, knock on wood. Now home I'll come, I'm sure. Maybe after we wipe them up here, they'll go to the bargaining tables and we can come home. All of us. Love, Don.
Once I was a soldier, and I fought on foreign sands for you. Once I was a hunter, and I brought home fresh meat for you. Once I was a lover, searched behind your eyes for you. Soon there'll be another to tell you I was just a lie. And sometimes I wonder, just for a while, will you ever remember me?
Dear Aunt Fanny, this morning one of my men turned to me and pointed a hand filled with cuts and scratches at a plant with soft red flowers and said, "That's the first plant I've seen today that didn't have thorns on it." The plant was also representative of Vietnam. It is a country of thorns and cuts, of guns and marauding, of little hope and of great failure. Yet in the midst of it all, a beautiful thought, gesture, and even person can arise among it, waving bravely at the death that pours down upon it. Someday this place will be burned by napalm, and the red flower will crackle up and die among the thorns. Yet that flower will always live, in the memory of a tired, wet Marine.
Sometimes I wonder just for a while, will you ever remember me? Remember me.
With American sons in the field far away, I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
What happened to you? Oh, I got kind of messed up. My unit is dropping because some, well, I don't know exactly. I don't know it was a fire base. They was overshooting, and then I was out pulling guard, and some hot rounds got too hot, and they started getting close. And then next thing I know, I couldn't hear out this ear. It kind of blowed it out, and next thing I know, I was catching shrapnel, and then that was it. And then they started evacuating me out, and this is my 5th hospital they put me in. I don't know if they're gonna send me home or what. I sure hope they do, though, because I've had it. I don't want no more Vietnam.
Dear Mom and Dad, Peachy and Fuzzy. As I suppose you can see by my new stationery, this is not my normal letter. While walking down the road one day in the merry, merry month of September, my squad got into a hell of a fray and lost one member. Me. I'm all right. I am all right. I'm all right. The carbine round hit me where it would do the most good. Right in the butt. It hit no bones, blood vessels, nerves, or anything else of importance, except my pride. It was, however, a little bit closer to my pecker than was comfortable, but that's as good as ever, although it's now going through a year's hibernation. So, I'm lying in bed here, and it comes time for that most thrilling event, when the general gives out the Purple Hearts. All in all, it was a dreadful performance by everyone, but in a way a classic stereotype. One of the large number of stereotyped characters and situations I have watched acted out much to my growing concern. They finally left me sicker than I was before, and with a medal I never wanted anyway. Love, Sandy.
Dear Mom, it's official. Would you believe a silver star? But I'm no hero. Heroes are for the late show. I was just trying to help a couple of guys who needed help. That's all. The heroes over here are the guys trying to do their job and get home from this useless war. Love, Phil.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a
Dear Dad, I've been listening to the Vietnam radio's news report special on the assassination of Martin Luther King in Memphis. But now I have a story to tell. On Friday, March 29, in our AO just south of Wade, we received small arms fire from a village. My platoon leader, Gary Scott, and one other man were killed. I was very close to Lieutenant Scott. I was his radio operator. He was a fine man, a good leader, yet he could not understand the whys of this conflict which killed him. They He'll say he died for his country, keeping it free. Negative. This country is no gain that I can see, Dad. We're fighting, dying for people who resent our being over here. Oh, I'll probably get a Bronze Star for the firefight. Lieutenant Scott will get a Silver Star. That will help me get a job someday, and it is supposed to suffice for Lieutenant Scott's life. I guess I'm bitter now, Dad. This war is all wrong. Your loving son, Phil.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop now. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going. We better stop. What's that sound?
Debbie, my dear honey cake. My health is much better now. The more I dream of the love we have shared, the more I love you. These dreams make me feel as if I'm still with you. Please keep a full and complete diary so we can reminisce. Debbie, I'll surely have much love and lots of joy with you in our future. I'll remember your youthful and lovely face always. Please pray for me, Debbie. Alan. Merry Christmas, my darling. Indeed, for me, a very Merry Christmas this year. My values have changed over these many long years. I've searched very carefully for lasting happiness, for what life really means to me, and I found it. I found it in a family and a home, the dream home we'll soon build together. I found it in the beautiful New England that I love so well, that I miss so much. But most of all, Debbie, I found it in you.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you.
Dear Mom, well, I'm spending Christmas Eve in good old bunker 110. I've got guard duty again. I always wondered what it must be like to be at war and far away from home on Christmas. Now I know. I can imagine how Pop felt during World War II. Love and kisses, Ray.
And when those blue
Vietnam, this is where it's at. It's what's happening, or to put it another way, who needs it?
Dear Mom and Dad, on Christmas, the whole company was loaded onto a 2.5-ton truck and carted off to Benoit to see Bob Hope. Imagine! I've looked at Bob Hope for years entertaining the troops and never once thought that he'd someday be entertaining me.
Hey, this is Miss Wall from India. This is Miss Wall from India.
Dear family, Christmas out there was really something. At midnight on Christmas Eve, the mortars and tracks and tanks and all of the 1st Cavalry artillery sent up an absolutely thunderous barrage of high-altitude flares. It was quite a show. I believe few people have seen fireworks like these. Then, when all had quieted down and the flares had gone out, the whole area calmed and hushed, and we could just hear one of the fire bases start singing Silent Night. Then it was picked up by the other positions around us and by everyone. It echoed through the valley for a long time and died out slowly. I'm positive it has seldom been sung with more gut feeling and pure homesick emotion. A strange and beautiful thing in this terribly death-ridden land. It is something I will always remember. Love, Peter.
For the average frontline infantry soldier in Vietnam, war is a bore, interrupted only by moments of sheer terror when men die. Contact with the enemy seems to be more infrequent than ever before. The soldiers like that. They sense, rightly or not, that the war is almost over.
I'd rather go out myself and not find anything. Come back in empty-handed.
Why is that? The object of the war is usually to find people and kill them.
Yeah, but that's not my... I just don't care too much about that.
Dear Tom, about morale, Americans do have many things to be proud of. Among these is the ability to create a means of survival in an absurd situation. Because the tour here is 1 year long, you're able to count the days until Leroy's date eligible to return from overseas. You're able to say, this time next year, I will be home.
After careful consideration with my senior civilian and military advisors and in full consultation with the government of Vietnam, I have decided to reduce the authorized troop ceiling in Vietnam to 484,000 by December 15.
Defense Secretary Melvin Laird said the U.S. 3rd Marine Division will be one of the units involved in President Nixon's most recent redeployment order. This afternoon, the U.S. command announced departing units will include supporting elements of the 1st Marine Air Wing, plus the 3rd Brigade of the 82nd Air Force.
Dear civilians, friends, draft dodgers, etc., in the very near future, the undersigned will once more be in your midst, dehydrated and demoralized, to take his place again as a human being with the well-known forms of freedom and justice for all. Engage in life, liberty, and the somewhat delayed pursuit of happiness. In making your joyous preparations to welcome them back into organized society, you might take certain steps to make allowances for the past 12 months. Abstain from saying anything about powdered eggs, dehydrated potatoes, fried rice, fresh milk, or ice cream. Do not be alarmed if he should jump up from the dinner table and rush to the garbage can to wash his dish with a toilet brush. Also, if it should start raining, pay no attention to him if he pulls off his clothes, grabs a bar of soap and a towel, and runs outside for a shower. Pretend not to notice if at a restaurant he calls the waitress #1 girl and uses his hat as an ashtray. Be watchful if he is in the presence of women, especially a beautiful woman. Last but not least, send no more mail to the APO. Fill the icebox with beer. Get the civvies out of the mothballs. Fill that car with gas and get the women and children off the street, baby, because the kid is coming home.
I'm so glad I'm living in the USA. Anything you want, I got it right here in the USA.
Which one, man? Take it easy, man. Right. Take care. See you, home. Right.
I feel the 9th Marine, they have been doing a good job for quite a while now. It was about time for them to go home, but I would also like for the rest of the men of Vietnam to go home just as much as 9th Marines. I would like to see all this end.
My friend, he would have been pulled out of the bush here 2 days after his death. And just seems kind of a shame that he died needlessly.
There's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying.
Hey, brother. This place is sort of getting to me. I've been seeing too many guys getting messed up, and I still can't understand it. It's not that I can't understand this war. It's just that I can't understand war, period. You sort of sit back and ask yourself, why? What the hell is this going to prove? And man, I'm still looking for the answer. It's a real bitch. I just can't believe half of the shit I've seen here so far.
How many bodies?
How many did you see killed, shot down?
Myself, I saw approximately 100 bodies, dead bodies. I mean, that's a conservative estimate now. I know one group specifically, they had rounded up about 20, maybe 30 people, and most of them were women and children. There might have been a few old men in the group. But they'd rounded them up just right over a ditch bank and shot them all with a machine gun and left them in the ditch.
Sometimes I feel so lonely. My come down, I'm scared to face.
Dear John, The physical and human damage done over the last few years is much greater than I realized. Not just the dead, but the GIs who can't talk in coherent sentences anymore. Bomb and artillery craters, the ruined villages. These things you can understand as the byproduct of war. But I can't accept the fact of the human damage. I feel like I'm at the bottom of a great sewer.
Dear Mrs. Perko, what can I say to fill the void? I know flowers and letters are appropriate, but it's hardly enough. I'm Johnny Boy, and I'm sick both physically and mentally. I smoke too much, I'm constantly coughing, never eat, always sit around in a daze. All of us are in this general condition. We're all afraid to die, and all we do is count the days till we go home. When we go to Saigon, we spend all our money on women and beer. We're all in desperate need of love. No one cares for me, cares for me. Some nights I don't sleep. I can't stand being alone at night. The guns don't bother me. I can't hear them anymore. I want to hold my head between my hands, run screaming away from here. I'm hollow, Mrs. Perko. I'm a shell, and when I'm scared, I rattle. I'm no one to tell you about your son. I can't. I'm sorry. Johnny Boy. 1 foot in the graveyard. No one cares for me, cares for me. Sign DC.
Hi, all. Christmas came and went, marked only by tragedy. Christmas morning, I got off duty and opened all my packages alone. I missed you all so much. I cried myself to sleep. It's ridiculous. I seem to be crying all the time lately. I hate this place. This is now the 7th month of death, destruction, and misery. I'm tired of going to sleep and listening to outgoing and incoming rockets, mortars, artillery. I'm sick of facing every day a new bunch of children ripped to pieces. They're just kids. 18, 19. Their whole lives ahead of them cut off. I'm sick to death of it. I've got to get out of here. Peace. Linda.
Kent State University in Ohio has had campus violence for 3 nights, causing the National Guard to be called in. And today, the guardsmen opened fire on the students, killing 4 of them, 2 young men and 2 young women.
The National Guard was called in over the weekend by Governor James Rhodes. Today, when 1,500 students started an anti-war rally on the Commons, the guardsmen surrounded them. Then, when some students started throwing rocks, the Guard moved in with tear gas.
Taking over, come on!
letter is from the men who daily risk their lives in Vietnam. In regards to the recent killings at Kent State University, we are sorrowful and mourn the dead, but it grieves us no end and shoots pain into our hearts that the, quote, biggest upset is over the kids who got killed at Kent State, unquote. So why don't your hearts cry out and shed a tear for the 40+ thousand red-blooded Americans and brave, fearless, loyal men who have given their lives? During my past 18 months in hell, I've held my friends during their last gasping seconds before they succumbed to death. Do not judge us wrongly. We are not pleading for your praise. All we ask is for our great nation to support us, to help us end the war. Damn it! Save our lives.
Take me to the airport and put me on a plane. I've got no expectations to pass through here again. Once I was a rich man, now I am so poor, but never in my sweet short life have I felt like this before.
At Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, there were no speeches, no bands, no bunting. Homecoming was gentle. The first man off was Captain Jeremiah Denton, a man who'd been in prison so long, his own teenage son had grown up, gone to Vietnam himself, served, and gone home again. And only now was his father coming home after 8 years.
We are honored to have had the opportunity to serve our country under difficult circumstances. We are profoundly grateful to our Commander-in-Chief and to our nation for this day. God bless America.
God bless America.
Dear Bill, I came to this black wall again to see and touch your name, William R. Stocks. And as I do, I wonder if anyone ever stops to realize that next to your name on this black wall is your mother's heart. A heart broken 15 years ago today when you lost your life in Vietnam. And as I look at your name, I think of how many, many times I used to wonder how scared and homesick you must have been in that strange country called Vietnam. And if and how it might have changed you, for you were the most happy-go-lucky kid in the world. Hardly ever sad or unhappy. And until the day I die, I will see you as you laughed at me, even when I was very mad at you. And the next thing I knew, we were laughing together. But on this past New Year's Day, I talked by phone to a friend of yours from Michigan who spent your last Christmas and the last 4 months of your life with you. Jim told me how you died, for he was there and saw the helicopter crash. He told me how your jobs were like sitting ducks. They would send you men out to draw the enemy into the open, and then they would send in the big guns and planes to take over. He told me how after a while over there, instead of a yellow streak, the men got a mean streak down their backs. Each day the streak got bigger, and the men became meaner. Everyone but you, Bill. He said how you stayed the same happy-go-lucky guy that you were when you arrived in Vietnam. And he said how you, of all people, should never have been the one to die. How lucky you were to have him for a friend. And how lucky he was to have had you. They tell me the letters I write to you and leave here at this memorial are waking others up to the fact that there is still much pain left from the Vietnam War. But this I know. I would rather to have had you for 21 years and all the pain that goes with losing you than never to have had you at all. Mom.